to murder my upstairs neighbors. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
If you have children, keep them far away from us and our apartment. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 243 of the O The Anthem podcast, broadcasting to you from the #OTA LA studios high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for downloading. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for streaming on Spotify. All those things you do, greatly appreciated by the two of us.
Absolutely. And make sure you are following at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. You can, of course, find us facebook.com/O The Anthem. That's where you're going to be watching us live right now. Make sure you send us a comment. Let us know you're listening in the chat room there. Of course, if you're listening to this on your podcatcher of choice later on in the week, you can hit us up on the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
That's 443-219-7595. And we're looking for, we've got a couple of episodes to shoot in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Got any ideas? Everyone knows I'm the Grinchiest Grinch, so doing a Christmas special, not really my bag.
But seeing as it's going to be released on Christmas, I feel like we should get a little bit Christmassy.
Oh, here's an idea. Genocide. Let's talk about genocide on Christmas. All the Christmas Day genocides.
Talk about all the massive breaches of your privacy.
Oh, even better. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah. But give us a call, give us a text, let us know. 443-219-7595. All your ideas are welcome.
Yes. And especially for the one following that too, where we have New Year's. We're still thinking about how we're gonna do that one.
Yes,
as a live stream, but it would be always nice to have the end of year sort of wrap up show and like think about.
To be fair, that Tuesday we really could just meet up and do a Facebook Live on the phone.
Yeah, true. I guess
just
we could
deal with the Facebook audio and just leave it there.
Just do a hangout call and record it.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, we'll be in the same state, just not this state that we're usually in.
Yeah.
If anybody has access to a radio studio that we could use for, I don't know, like an hour.
Just pop in on section 336.
Yeah. Oh, hey, yeah.
Like, out of your fucking house, guys.
Like, hey, guys, can we rent the studio for an hour?
Josh, go take your kids caroling or something like that. I need the studio.
By the way, so Josh also listens to another podcast that I am a huge fan of, Big O and Dukes, and apparently he promised those hosts that he would be showing up to their huge event last weekend, Horde Stock, which if I were anywhere in the region, would have made it out to.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm currently not in the region.
Right.
I can't fly out there for Horde Stock, turn around, fly back, and then fly back for Christmas.
Yeah. I get it. You don't care that much about Big O and Dukes.
Clearly.
Got it. Nailed.
Clearly. Josh got called out on the podcast. So they're like, some of our not so maybe fair weather more than regular fans, Josh Roca. And I'm like, oh my God, I know that guy. That's cool. So he got called out. But anyway, so let us know what you think. Your ideas for the next few weeks. What can we do? Always ideas that we've done before. Movie. We watch the movie along with you, and we give you.
We could do a Christmas movie.
We could do a Christmas movie. I want to punch myself in the face just saying.
Well, I mean, we could do a non-traditional Christmas movie.
We could do the only Christmas movie that matters.
Die Hard.
Die Hard, and
we could do Santa Claus vs. the Martians.
I mean, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Elf. I mean, now we're starting to get in the... Can we just do the scene from Elf where what's-her-name's in the shower singing?
Zoe Deschanel?
Yeah.
I mean, just do that one scene and
for an hour and a half. We'll
replay it and just come up with new takes.
Scene back. Yes.
See how many takes we can come up on this?
Yeah, sure.
Before Me Too shuts us down?
Oh, it would be very quick. I'm sure. It wouldn't be long at all. It's our shortest episode ever. Anyway, but yeah, so...
The door just busts down. It's like, nobody expects Me Too. By the way, have you just as an aside while we're talking Me Too shit, did you did you hear at all about like what kinds of things Les Moonves had going on at CBS?
No, I immediately
rid him of his golden parachute.
As soon as I heard that like they're basically going to sell or give away his golden parachute to all sorts of organizations, I'm like, all right, good, whatever it is.
Well, it's funny because when not funny, haha, funny, but funny as in like this the way the world works kind of way. When it stuff originally started coming out, it was all very not good, but not like the worst not the Harvey version of the scale. And I think that's sort of what we said at the time. And I think there was also like a little bit of me, like in the back of my head, much like when Harvey fell. There was like that little tiny bit in the back of the head where it's just like, well, don't rush to judgment here because if for some reason he's able to wriggle himself free, I feel like Harvey and Les Moonves are having the list of the people who
You don't wanna
besmirch
have,
them.
Yeah, you don't want to have podcast episodes where you're like, Les Moonves, this guy.
This motherfucker.
Yes, yeah. And then you're sitting at a CBS meeting. And
in my
he's like,
suit, and just Les Moonves just kicks the door open. He's like, "Hey, surprise, motherfucker!"
and just walks in, hits play on a boombox because, of course, he's still got a boombox. And it just, like, how did you even get this on tape? How is this?
Somebody transcribed it on tape for you. It's already digital. You don't have to put it back to analog. You can just.
I prefer it. I reel reels the way that music is meant to be played. Like, now I understand why the industry's collapsing. Okay, all right.
This guy's in charge.
Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, but the more that things come out, the worse it gets, as almost always happens in these cases. And it turns out like he had somebody on the staff who was basically just his blowjob person. So he basically had a fluffer on staff. And
to be fair, though, I mean,
and when CBS was doing their investigation into like what he did and like all his problems, like they asked for him to hand in his company issued iPad.
Yeah,
and he handed in his 9-year-old son's instead, which should have been like a pretty like clear like, oh, he seems to like Paw Patrol.
So here's my recommendation to Les Moonves. Take that meeting on the 24th floor of a building, and when they're like the iPad, you just take it and do what my ex did and be like, okay, here you go, and launch it out the window of the building and let it fall down 24 floors.
And when they look at you like, why'd you just do that? You just go, oops, Butterfingers.
Crazy bitch. So I didn't hear that, but devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Better to have a willing and consenting blowjob person on staff.
It's willing and consenting. I mean, like
versus the multiple scandals.
No, I think it
was she not willing. I'm assuming she willing and consenting.
I mean, I think the argument that you would make about like maybe she gladly gave him one blowjob.
Okay.
To like, like, oh, this might be helpful for my career and therefore I can do this once. Mm-hmm. But then once you have that over somebody, like there's no way to sort of like go back on the consent. That would be my view of the situation. Whereas like, if you proved yourself game to do this once, then he's basically calling on you all the time to do it, and then you feel like there's like a you have to keep this up to.
What if at the interview she's sitting there and like, okay, so what we have available for you is 2 positions. Number 1, an EA position, and this pays $35,000 a year. You're going to be in some very high level meetings, but essentially you'll attend to most of Mr. Moonvez's needs. The second position is an EABJ position, and you'll be attending to all of Mr. Moonvez's needs. This position pays $150,000 a year and has an excellent benefits package.
I'm not saying that there wouldn't be somebody who would take said job,
right?
But I'm just saying
it's in the job description. She's an EABJ. That is in the job description.
But like, the problem is that like once you go over a line with somebody, it's hard not to expect that line to be crossed all the time.
But again,
it'd be like
if he hired her and said, "Hey, so listen."
If I said, Rob, I'm in a real jam. This person has info on me. We have to murder them. And then because you're a really good friend of mine, you go along with it. And
you ever kill that Kim bitch? I'll show you where the ocean is.
You kill the one person for me. Yes. And then months later, I'm just like, it's happened again. Somebody knows too much. And you're just like, listen, I don't want to be stacking all kinds of bodies on my record. Like,
well, I mean, listen, it'd be more of a problem if I already didn't have a stack. But no, again, though, if it's that situation where she's just a nice girl who gave him a blowjob once, and he's like, keep blowing me. But I can guarantee you there are people in this country right now whose job's description, although maybe not on paper, but during the interview involved, listen, I will pay you 10 times what I would pay you, but occasionally I'm going to need you to lift your skirt and bend over the desk and take it out so I don't go banging around in the building and my wife doesn't find out. That's the whole thing.
See, but the problem here is that while I'm sure there is somebody who would sign up for such a thing, nobody should be expected to have to sign up for that sort of, you know what I mean?
Hey, listen, she could go get an EA job somewhere and be perfectly fine and healthy.
She could. I just think that it's kind of ridiculous.
Listen, aren't you the libertarian?
The craziness that this has gone to is.
Aren't you the libertarian of us two?
Yes.
And shouldn't I be able to contract anything I want to contract?
Listen, I'm fine with if people want to do sex work and want to make money for that. I'm fine with that being a industry of our world, and especially one that's not looked down upon so much as it is, because I mean, honestly, it's been going on since the beginning of the human race. So we can pretty much
the world's second oldest profession.
We can probably bring that one out of the shadows a little bit, but I still don't. The difference, though, again, is the choice in the matter, which I imagine went from being like a hey, just give me this BJ just once to every Tuesday is BJ day, and I expect you in my office at 8. And that at that point, it's not a.
But we don't know.
We don't. But I'm saying like it's And
I'm with you with choice. Like I don't like.
I mean, if you were scheduling
sex work,
if you were scheduling your blowjob, like if you were calling up a prostitute and saying like, hey, every Tuesday I have a big string of meetings, so I need a blowjob beforehand.
Yeah. And
I'm going to set up I'm going to put you on retainer, and every Tuesday you're going to meet me at 8. And if you have an agreement that happens like that, where you're hiring somebody just for the purposes of some sort of sexual act, then go for it, I guess.
Okay, but then, he has to pay for it out of pocket. If he hires her as an EABJ, CBS pays for the blowjob girl. That's the thing. She doesn't do anything except for show up at 10 a.m. on Tuesday.
I don't know. Something tells me CBS doesn't want to be on the hook for that thing.
I mean, probably not. And that's on them, because they don't know what's going on enough to know that that chick only shows up one day a week. She's in the office for I would say a 1-hour meeting, but probably not. 5-minute meeting, and then she's out of the office again. And you're like, what are we paying this broad $150,000 a month or a year for?
And then the other guy says, don't say broad, that's demeaning to women.
Anyway, so Les Moonves. How did we even get off on that? Why did you bring up Les Moonves?
I don't know.
Let's talk about what we did this week instead. Because as you might have seen, I'm sipping from what might colloquially be called a castle, but one would really call a rook.
Yeah.
A rook.
A glass rook.
Yeah, well.
The most secure type of rook.
Plastic rook. Because, I don't know if you can see. You can't. We went to Medieval Times this week. Not we. I went to Medieval Times this week. Corey did not.
Yeah. I was working. I was on set this week.
Yeah. Well, let's go into that first. How was the set life this week?
Oh, it was great. It was a great crew. It was a nice little production to be involved in, and I very much enjoyed shooting on a green screen and like a sound stage, because my life was really easy.
Yeah.
So basically, like for people who don't know how like green screens work, first of all, this is an example of that.
You mean the city's not really behind us?
No, we don't really sit up at the top of the hill in Echo Park and just shoot downtown. This is not actually what's happening at the Wilshire Grand right now. They're doing some sort of red and green Christmas thing.
Oh, that's right. Maybe we should update it for the Christmas season.
Nah,
or who cares?
Just go up there and shoot 15 more minutes of...
we'll keep it. And actually, this building that you can't see because the green screen is actually working, this building at the bottom of Corey's, that's gone now, right? That's the bank building. Wait, sorry. I'm not pointing very well. This building, I think, is gone. Mm-hmm. This black spot here will actually have some lights in it. You actually might be able to see our apartment now from there.
That's not a good idea.
No, probably not. Anyway, but so you were shooting on set, and you also went to a couple of debuts of other things that you shot.
Yeah, this is the time of the season where people start. There seems to be like a lot of holiday parties / debuting of things. Yeah. So I went to a premiere Saturday, and I went to one the Saturday before and the Thursday before that. So busy.
Yeah, lots of premieres, lots of work going on. Mm-hmm. So set life though, not really set life, like green screen life.
Still set life. Still doing the usual set things, only doing it in a place where I don't have to worry about being in frame.
Right.
Like that's basically the joy. So like the green screen, like it takes whatever's in front of the green screen and cuts it out so that you could put another image behind there. And the same sort of thing works if there was like a microphone like hanging right here. We could cut that out. Mm-hmm. And just because we're gonna when we're gonna edit, we're just gonna cut around the person.
Me and you, just
cut
me and you.
Around.
Yeah.
And then anything that's not in that space can be eliminated.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about as long as it doesn't cross over into somebody's face.
So you
like
could
this.
just stand right behind them.
Yeah.
And mic them.
Yeah. And I was just all day just standing with the microphone, like just the perfect distance away, just enough so that you could swat it if you wanted to.
On camera.
Don't actually swat it, please.
On camera.
That costs money.
Yes. On camera, though. Being recorded. Good. Well, now we know that exists.
Yeah.
Just Corey just chilling out on screen, like, hey, how you doing? Where's your mama?
just in the frame next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just imagine you use a little flourish whenever you get the mic ready.
I turn it like Arnold in T2.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but please tell me about medieval times
so Medieval Times
I missed that part of it.
So Medieval Times, if you guys don't know, is a dinner theater. Corey has done dinner theater before, and it's the best part of two things. One, dinner theater, fantastic. Also, the smell of an inside of a barn. Now, if there are two things you really want to mix together, it is a mass-prepared meal and the smell of an inside of a barn. It was really good. It was a special time. But no, I enjoyed it. They're jousting, which is the state sport of Maryland. Mm-hmm. Got to see some jousting, as fake as it may be.
What is the state sport of California? Is it surfing?
No.
Pretty
Let's
sure.
investigate.
Hold on, let me do that. So while you're typing,
I will talk about more about medieval times. So, and I found out in the week, weirdly this week, that the queen of the medieval times actually used to be a king, but because of the pressure of having so few female parts, they made it a queen instead of a king. So it's like a whole story, and then there's like games, and then there's the jousting tournament, and then a winner, and it's all very showy. And the people I was with, enjoyed it very much. Having seen,
as of August 20th of this year, surfing is now the state sport of California.
Well, there you go. All right. But the people I was with really enjoyed it. But I have actually been to a real jousting match. Have you been to a jousting match before?
No.
Okay. So I've seen legitimate people jousting who were like,
I've seen jousting training.
Okay.
I've seen like the horses do like the runs.
Oh, okay. Now I've seen
but
like
not like with anybody with
jousting.
the joust
Right.
on top.
Like, I want to knock this fellow off the horse, and I am doing everything I can to stay on my horse while knocking him off.
Yeah.
So to see that and compare it, and then I think I knew it was going to be fake, but it's like
wrestling.
I want to say wrestling, but not, because there is a lot of athleticism in it, and I could see that they were like working hard to put on a good show, but you could see them pulling.
But I mean, like
that's
the same thing with wrestling.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of that athleticism, but you can see where they're not connecting with the punches.
Right. They're pulling him in a little bit, and they're like, when he
the
does
stagecraft of like stomping
while you kick, and that was all going on, going on through the like winding up when the guy needs like an extra, like I usually would just like drop the hammer on you, but then I realize as I go down that your hands aren't in position to block me, so I do this real big wind up as I come around to give you the extra couple seconds to get it up and block it. So it was good. It was interesting, and the meal was fine. I liked eating with my hands.
I've never been to medieval times, but I have been to a Vegas Golden Knights game, and I assume they're essentially the same thing.
It's basically the same thing, yes. But honestly, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't go again. It was, like I said, I imagine the story is the same every time.
Yeah. Or maybe they have like a couple alternate, like they're just like, we're going with story 1 tonight.
Right. Yeah. And
but they have like 5 possible, like.
I was thinking that it might actually be the same story, but that, okay, so if you get called out first, here's what you do. Like, you run all 6 parts.
Yeah.
You get called out first. That makes you number 1. And then when you call out whoever you decide to call out, whoever that is, they become part 2. And then if that's 1 and 2, then you're automatically 3, you're 4, you're 5, you're 6. So whoever just gets called on a random night, that is the selection of who wins for the night, what parts you play. So,
I pitched this idea to Roberto, by the way. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I'm hitting you with this cold.
Okay.
Say you are a star on the verge, like an actor on the verge. I think Ezra Miller was the example I used with Roberto.
Okay.
Where he's like, he's his profile certainly getting bigger, but he couldn't be the star of a movie right now.
No.
He's a couple more things away from being able to be a star in a movie.
Unless it's like an indie breakout.
Right.
Like
But I'm
put
saying
him
like
in your indie and it's huge.
like
But yes.
like he's on the trajectory where he could be Rami Malek in 2
sure.
years because he just hasn't had the cut yet at being the man. But he just a couple more good performances will put him in that spot. Imagine if you went to medieval times and then before the show started they said tonight playing the role of the Red Knight, Ezra Miller.
Okay.
I think that would be a genius bit of viral marketing that a star on the cusp could do, because there would be just filled with people like taking out their phones and filming Ezra Miller like winning the jousting or something like that.
If you make sure that he wins.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like obviously he would win. Like you would just have him in there, and then just when TMZ calls him or something like that and be like, why'd you do medieval times? He's just like, I just love getting out there in front of a live performance. I love having the, like you don't get it with the movies every once in a while. And I can't sign up for a whole play because then it's months and months and months.
Yeah.
Medieval times said I could come down on Tuesday and I just did it. And then it's just like a pop in and it's completely random. And everyone who's there feels like they got like this incredible experience of like, much like when you're at like a comedy store or something like that, and you see the set lineup, and then all of a sudden Dave Chappelle shows up.
Is it
and
gonna
you're
get
just
5?
like, I got free Dave Chappelle tonight.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the list, and he just showed up.
Oh, by the way, if you're in LA, now's also probably the time that if you do go to the Comedy Store, guys are probably working on their 2019 stuff. So it's probably a time you could catch a Dave Chappelle drop in.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for their spring tour. So let's work that stuff out right now. Maybe we should go to the Comedy Store. Alternate. Yes, that would probably be good. However, alternate better is a scripted screenplay about a actor who's fallen so far that he ends up at a medieval times type show.
You could do that.
And
that's more work.
I'm never afraid of. I mean, I haven't written in months, but
I would say that the Queen would probably be the easier role to like go in and do blind kind of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe defer to a actress on the rise as opposed to an actor on the rise. But I'm still saying, I still think that like, if you showed up and you heard some star is playing a role in this thing tonight, everyone would go crazy and just tag it like crazy on Instagram and stuff like that. And then it would get trending. And then TMZ would call and be like, why'd you do this?
Because I love performing. And
yeah, and then
I get it.
You get yourself a little bump for nothing.
Yeah.
So,
but then you have to have a video and pictures of you in tights.
Yeah, but then you just, like again, if you're like an Ezra Miller type, you don't give a shit.
True.
You're living on a polyamorous goat farm in Connecticut. Like, you don't,
is he really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well. Okay.
So I mean, like, what the fuck do you care if you have a picture of you in tights?
Very true. Yeah. I mean, if you're Dwayne Johnson, that's probably not good for your.
Well, I mean, like, even everyone wants to be a fucking superhero. Afraid to put on some tights.
No, very true.
So
yeah, but what did Ryan Reynolds say as Deadpool in the first Deadpool? Please God, don't put me in bright yellow spandex or bright green spandex. Yeah. All right. Well, so if you're ready, we should probably start the show.
Yeah, I
now that
guess
we are getting into it. So let's go ahead and do that.
Should we start recording?
Oh God! By the way, twice I said, "Hey, are we recording?" Like, yeah. That light looks like it's not on yet. Yeah. Okay. Now we're all right. But yeah, let's start the show.
And then 5 times I said, "Are we muted?" And you're just like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, it's
and
fine.
then finds out we weren't.
All right. Anyway, so here we go, guys. All right.
Quarterback watch week 4.
Yeah, and it's on ESPN, or was just on ESPN. Quarterback controversy in Baltimore. Lamar Miller, 3-1.
Lamar Jackson,
3-1.
Keep doing that.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson, 3-1. The one loss to the AFC West leading clinched
champions
already. Yeah. Chiefs.
Well, no, they clinched a playoff spot.
Oh, they haven't clinched the AFC West yet?
Right, because technically San Diego. Well, San Diego is like 1.5 games back. So there's a way that they could catch. But
that was a great. Technically, San Diego. San Diego.
I don't even have the time to correct it. It's not. It's not like anyone who actually lives in the city in which they play care. So
yes, yeah.
the one thing I'm gonna miss is like I was looking at some memorable O's of the anthem in the past, including Miami made the list.
Yeah.
Where the Ravens fans totally took over the Miami Stadium when we went down there.
Yeah.
And I was saying like I'm a little bit upset I'm gonna miss the Ravens Chargers matchup here in California because I imagine there would be just a run of Ravens fans just taking over the fucking place.
All the
West Wing
people will be there, right? So, yeah.
It would have been a legendary O.
Just the people that we are at the bar with usually would probably outnumber the mostly Chargers fans.
Well, there's only 30 seats in that damn stadium too, so
tickets are at a premium. But yes, so Lamar Jackson 3-1. The one loss being to the Chiefs, and it coming in overtime
in Arrowhead.
I mean, really, he did everything he thought that you would think that he could do to win that game.
Yeah, I mean,
they were leading. The defense gave up.
I was happy. I was happy with the game. I'll say this. I was worried that turning on your light now. I was worried that Lamar would not be able to properly march the team down the field if they needed it.
Right.
And that is a concern that became very evident later in the game. Because there was, in the fourth quarter at some point, like there was a sack and there was a penalty and then it was 6-22.
Yeah.
And like I had this feeling, you could look at the players and like they all had the same look on their face. It's just like 22 yards. It might as well be 1,000,000. Like there's no way we're getting 22 yards. Like how are we going to run for 22 yards in the next 2 plays? Like it doesn't make any sense. And then they just gave up and punted essentially, you know, like with Joe at the very least, you have some sort of sense that he would be able to make some sort of deep strike down the field if needed to like get the play.
He'd see that pass interference coming and throw downfield towards it.
And I'll also say this: I think that the last couple weeks that everyone has had the "I'm tired of my girlfriend" syndrome.
Yeah.
With Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Like when you've been with somebody for a long time and you're growing tired of their shenanigans. And you start saying, like, I'm going to find somebody else. I can do so much better than this.
Yeah.
I'm tired of all these every single week with the pass interferences and every single week with the not throwing it enough to get a first down and blah, 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 and all the horrible things that Joe does. And then the second that you break up with Joe, you throw him out on the pile, and then you're just like, Lamar, my new person. Mm-hmm. And then Lamar starts doing shit that annoys you.
Yeah.
And then it's a never-ending cycle of... You don't realize it. Like right now, everyone collectively, all Ravens fans collectively, are looking at Joe Flacco and only thinking about all the terrible things that Joe Flacco does, and not the good things that Joe Flacco does. Much like we're only looking at the good things Lamar does and not all the bad things that Lamar is doing. Like Lamar just cannot. Like if it comes to like marching down the field by throwing the ball, it's just not happening right now.
Yet, it has not. It hasn't happened yet. We don't know that it can happen yet.
And I don't think that I think he has the ability, and I trust that by this time next year it's going to be a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about making the playoffs right now with what we have, I still think that Lamar should definitely be acclimated or should be in the game a lot more than he was earlier in the season when it was like random trick plays every 4 or 5 drives or something like that. But I would defer to if you know you're in obvious passing situations, having Joe.
So I mean,
there.
Is that the thing? Do you go the opposite way, where when it's a throwing down and you know it's going to be a throw anyway, just bring Joe in to make the throw?
Yeah,
and then let Lamar run first.
I mean, like
down, maybe second down.
I would think that the maybe the best case version of the Ravens offense would be. Joe when we're behind and Lamar when we're ahead.
Okay.
Because when Lamar is leading the offense, it's a much more rush first offense.
Yeah.
And then we could milk the clock and we could let our defense do the job and march down the field methodically. And
that's going to require Joe to get us up at the beginning. Or do you put Lamar? Start
the game with Joe. Let him get a lead.
So then he's going to play 90% of the game because they're not going to be up until the last drive.
No, I'm not saying it's always when you're losing it's Joe and when you're winning it's Lamar. I'm just saying that like as a generalized rule, when you're behind is Joe, or when you're behind is Joe, and when you're winning it's Lamar.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like bringing in the closer. And if you're gonna play them both,
I would argue,
and like essentially redshirt RG3,
yeah,
then it doesn't really matter. Like just have him come out whenever.
Well, so here's what I would say.
Or toy with the fact that like Lamar's coming out, so they're gonna start running it now, and then he could start maybe getting some open looks in the secondary. The problem is that I feel like Lamar just can't see past the linebackers. Like once he gets past the second line of defense, he's not properly reading what's happening beyond it. And it's not a fault of his. It's just that this is a really fucking difficult job to like pick up and learn. Like being an NFL quarterback, like I think I heard Peyton Manning talking about it, where he was just like the fucked up thing about, he didn't say fucked up, but like the fucked up thing about being a quarterback in the NFL is that by the time you learn all the tricks and you know how to do it and you know how to be the best at it, you're essentially done because your body just can't handle it anymore. He's just like, if my body could have handled it a little bit better at the end, I could have had 3 of the best years of my career right there at the end,
right?
Because I knew what everyone was doing and I knew how to work around it. I just didn't have the zip on the ball to make it happen the way it used to.
Well, he showed that in Denver.
Yeah,
going to Denver and having a second act in Denver is, hey, my body gave out, Indy, but you should have just kept me around for.
But I mean, you could say the same thing, like with an Aaron Rodgers or someone like that, or Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Like those guys right now are at the age where they know the defenses so well, and they know how to work around what's going on the field on the fly without any kind of problems, and their bodies are holding up enough that they're able to do incredible things. But I mean, like it just takes a while to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
It's a very steep learning curve that a lot of guys don't have the ability. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't read the defenses, you can't get better.
I think you learn better on the field though than you do playing back up to Joe Flacco, who hasn't proven himself to be able to win games. What was our record?
He has.
What was our record when Joe went down?
No.
What was the record when Joe went down?
We were like 4-5 at that point.
4-5.
Like
and what are we now?
We are 7-6.
8-6.
8-6.
Right? 8-6. It was week 14.
No.
This was week 14.
So we would have been. It would have been. We probably were 500 when Joe went out.
Okay.
Yeah, we were, because it was the Panthers game was the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that put us at what, like 6-6 or something like that. I don't
so
remember.
Now we are 9-7.
8. I don't remember. It's too hard to reverse engineer this game.
No, 5-5, 4-4.
No, it's 3-1 since Lamar took over.
Yes.
We are
in week 14 now, so he went out of week 10. So it's 5-5.
7-6 right now. So we were 4 and
5.
4 and 5.
We are 4 and 5. So we were below 500 under Joe Flacco, and now Lamar Jackson has won every game that you've given him except for the Chiefs at Arrowhead. You
also haven't had Gus Edwards the entire time that Joe was out. Like that was a renaissance that happened the same week that Lamar had his first start.
Okay.
Having a solid running back who you can just give the ball to and get 3 or 4 yards every single time is again, like, it's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it's a wonderful thing to have.
Your
and it's something that Joe. No, it's not. I'm just trying to, like, everyone is thinking only the worst about Joe right now, and I get it. He wasn't looking great before he went out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there's at the end of the game, I could just watch it and say Lamar can't handle this. Like, when RG3 came in for Lamar, like after he got hurt in overtime, I was like, well, at least we have the chance of RG3 marching us down the field because he can do this.
We know he can do it.
We know he can do this. But like before Lamar got hurt, I was worried about it. Also, by the way, just as an aside, I wasn't expecting us to win against the Chiefs. But the referees in that game acted like they had money on the Chiefs, and I don't appreciate it when I can see that from the TV.
Sure.
Like, the pass interference or the non-pass interference at the end of the game was absurd. Willie Snead was going up for the ball. You didn't see it, so no. Willie Snead was going up for the ball to make the catch, and the defensive back like just had his whole right arm like down like this as he's trying to make the catch, and it bounces off his one hand that's up in the air, and no call, and that would have been a first down to like march us down the field more, but no.
Well, here's what I'll say. Yes, we have a girlfriend. Yes, we're trying to break up with her. Most of us are trying to break up with her because we
realize the end is near.
Because we got a hot girl waiting in the wings for us. And here's what: if it doesn't work out with that hot girl, there is a pretty decent looking girl who it seems like nobody wants to dance with, and we should really think about maybe taking that girl out for a swing.
RG3.
No, Colin Kaepernick still available, and as Corey aptly pointed out in our pre-show meeting, the lawsuit for the NFL not looking so good because this week both Derek Anderson and
Derek Anderson's gone.
Wait, who's playing in Buffalo? Are they back to the rookie?
Yeah, they're back to Rosen. No, not Rosen. What's his name? I can't remember.
Well, let's say Kirk Cousins is on the field right now, despite what we just saw on Monday Night Football. Yeah. Mark Sanchez is on the field this week.
Mm-hmm.
Darden? No. For the Jets.
Darnold?
Darnold.
Yeah.
Who did not bad, but you know.
See, I don't care if you're starting a rookie. I mean, if you're the Jets or the Bills or the Cardinals, like you got to get these guys out. You just got to get them reps. These seasons are lost to those teams anyway. It's not like, if you brought in Kaepernick, you were going to make it to the Super Bowl or something like that. So I get why teams who have bad rookie quarterbacks are still going out there with those people. But like the Redskins, like, you lose your top two quarterbacks.
Which, bad luck. Maybe they made an offer and Cap was like, no, thank you.
I don't want to break my leg.
Okay.
So you have Alex Smith go down. You have Colton McCoy go down. You are now trusting your franchise and maybe, possibly, hopefully making the playoffs to Mark Sanchez, who I didn't know was still around.
Yes.
To play football.
Inactive, most certainly.
And then who was it that came in after him? Like Josh Johnson.
Now
or
they're
something
saying
like that.
Josh Johnson's going to start on Sunday.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, Washington, that you would prefer Mark Sanchez being backed up and replaced by who the hell is fucking Josh Johnson?
Well, the reason why they went with Josh Johnson used to he was a quarterback for the Vikings and a couple other
backup quarterback for the Vikings?
No, he had a starting.
Oh, okay.
At one point he was a starter.
Sure.
Much like Kaepernick, at one point he was a starter. But it's one of those things like the reason why they decided to go with Sanchez over Johnson this week, according to Jay Gruden, was that Mark Sanchez was 100% down with the playbook. Like he had been with the team in some way or another all year and was familiar with the playbook. Johnson just came in, but Sanchez looked like he'd never played football before when he played this week. And Josh Johnson, at the very least, looked like he was competent towards the end of the game. It was all garbage time, but I mean, like at least
the highlights that I saw looked like he was calling it from the line too, and like really just scrambling for his life.
Yeah, just like you go right, you go left, you go.
It's backyard football. Yeah. Like, all right, you're gonna do
a button hook.
You're gonna do a 10 out, and hey, give a little bump, and then you do a post pattern. All right, I'll find the open person. I'll throw it downfield.
Just do a little shake. As soon as I see the shake, I'm gonna throw it to you.
If you guys never played backyard football, I feel bad for you because all of that was legitimate. That was in the huddle at playing backyard football. Give me a little shoulder shimmy. I'm going to throw it over your outside shoulder. Just look up and catch it.
Did you ever tell try and get the mismatch and then tell the guy to fall down?
What? No,
I used to do that all the time. In our neighborhood, there was one kid who was so much better than everybody else, but he always lined up on the right side of the street.
Okay.
So when he was playing DB, he was always on the right side of the street. So I used to put our worst receiver over on that side, and I used to say, fall down. Like, take a couple steps, fall. And then he's out of the play.
Right.
I can just focus on the other people.
I need a flag pattern across to the open side now.
Or just like, here, just go, take a 5, and then run out of the street. It's like, we're already on the edge of the street. I'm like, yes, run out of the street.
Anyway, so that is kind of what Josh Johnson looked like from the highlight reel that I saw of that game. But put together decent drive, went downfield a little ways, I think. I don't think he scored, but
again, garbage time, it's all different.
Yeah.
Like, the defense probably gave up by that point, seeing as they were up by like 35, but
now they're saying that dude's going to start. You're going to start that guy and over Mark Sanchez, over a Super Bowl quarterback who literally says, "I will play for anyone, make me an offer."
See, here's where I think the NFL done fucked up. I think that they figured that they were going to be able to get off with the excuse that Kaepernick has been in decline and he's not a good enough player to be on the field anymore. And under normal circumstances, Cap definitely would have been brought into some team by now. Like whether it's like backing up Andy Dalton in Cincinnati after he went down or something like there would have been some situation where he would have come. If Colin Kaepernick was Derek Anderson, he would be on some team. Like he would have been brought in at some point.
Again, Derek Anderson. How many Super Bowls have Derek Anderson been in?
None to my knowledge, because he was the Browns and the Panthers.
That's the difference. Kaepernick has played in a Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl quarterback.
I don't think a Super Bowl quarterback's all like Elvis Gerbach was a Super Bowl quarterback. Kerry Collins was a Super Bowl. I mean, like it's not like you ever said to yourself like, "Get me Kerry Collins. He knows how to lead this team." Like
right, but if it was Kerry Collins over Derek Anderson, neither of those guys know the playbook.
Sure,
you're bringing in nobody.
I get it. I'm just saying. I think that if the NFL wanted Colin Kaepernick to go away quietly, they would have signed him to some deal, like immediately after he lost with the 49ers. He would have had one season where maybe he would have been as bad as he was the last year he was with the 49ers.
Yeah.
And then they could definitively say to anybody who called and asked, listen, he just wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Like we gave him a try. He wasn't good. So they cut him. And it's not our fault that he was so bad that no other team wanted to pick him up.
Yeah.
And then that would have been a $600,000 investment to just have Cap go out there, play meagerly, and then get cut, and then
maybe
move on
for the
with your
Browns.
lives. Yeah, or whatever. But I'm saying like by going on with the charade at this point,
yes.
This is a $150 million payout for the NFL that's gonna come their way at some point.
Yeah.
Where he's going to make the argument that, like, listen, I'm going to play 10 more years for $15 million a year plus punitive, blah, 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 blah.
And by the way, you're giving him knowledge of damages. Mark Sanchez is on the field right now, and he's getting paid.
Yeah.
So I think Kaepernick could be like, listen, I mean, Mark, if you spread that over entire season, is, somewhere around $6 million, and look how he performed.
Yeah.
I could do way better than that, and maybe double that, 12, triple it, 18. $18 million for 10 years.
Yeah, nobody's paying Mark Sanchez $6 million though.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're paying. League minimum $600,000,
something like that, probably.
Yeah, so, but yeah, so
somebody's having a nightmare.
Yeah, she's chasing something. So in the end, though, NFL, just not a good season for you.
You done goofed.
When all the quarterbacks go down, not a great year for this lawsuit to be continuing, because it's just like, again, I made I made the argument outside that Jerry Jones leaned on Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell came in, and without saying it, I'm sure he wasn't dumb enough to be like, hey, nobody hire Cap. But he was like, here's a list of all the quarterbacks that are currently alive who you can hire, who have worked in the NFL before. He went down the list, and somebody was like, hey, I think that you're missing. He's like, no, shut up. This is the list. That's all. Like, you put Mark Sanchez on this list. Yeah. Like, I thought he was dead. No, it's still alive, available. There you go.
So acceptable player list.
Yeah. So
I would say this though. 2 new football leagues are coming up in the next year.
Also true.
The XFL won't take them
back
because the XFL said if your name has any kind of controversy, you're not going to be in this league.
More importantly, what's his name? From
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon said that if you had ever taken a knee, he would not allow you to play in the XFL.
Right.
So Kaepernick, probably not the guy.
But he could join Ricky Williams' pot league.
Oh, where you can actually play football and smoke pot at the same time? So it's just like the NFL, but you can smoke pot.
Just like the NFL, but it only makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. And a lot less money. Sorry, Ricky, just saying. Lot less money, lot more sense, lot less money.
It's gonna be so funny when we watch the scores of the pot league, and it's just like nobody hurt again this week.
I really, honestly.
Also, nobody running that fast.
If anyone's watching the history at all, the whole point, I would say that Ricky Williams is doing this is to show that, like, the same reason the XFL existed before. Like, they broke ground, they showed that you could do all of these things, and then the NFL was forced to adopt them and drive them out of business. Yeah. And so Ricky Williams is like, if you are a college player who did really well but found that CBD helped you recover from your injury and you would really like to continue playing and you think that maybe without it you can't, why would you go play for the NFL?
Or you could get what I imagine both these leagues are going to try and capitalize on is saying that people out of high school can come play.
Oh, well, that's true too. Yeah.
So then they're going to have an opportunity of like, hey, do you want to go to Ohio State where they make money off of you? Or do you want to come play for the XFL Ohio team where you're going to make not a ton of money, but money?
There's not going to be an XFL in Ohio.
Well, there's like
big market. New York will have 2, LA will have 2.
They
Miami.
named the franchises already.
Did they?
Well, not the team names, but like where they're going to be.
The city?
Yeah.
LA, I was like LA, Orlando, New York, Seattle.
Hold on a second here. I'll
Those
pull
are
up the
ones
list.
from last time. So go ahead and you just pull that up.
8 plan teams.
Yes.
Oh God, Wikipedia donation requests. I ain't doing that. Seattle, Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston, St. Louis, Tampa Bay, Washington, and New York.
Okay, guys. First of all, Florida don't need no more football. Why? Florida can't handle the football that it has. Stop that. Texas gets 2 teams. 2?
I like how St. Louis gets one though. Just so like it's just like.
Well, to be fair though, I mean
they don't have an NFL team.
Honestly, if you are building a franchise, that would be the first team I would go to.
See, I think it's weird that they don't have a Chicago though. Like you would think of all the. I mean, like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston are the 4 biggest cities in the country.
Where do you play in Chicago?
What do you mean? Where do you play in Chicago?
Where do you play the game?
I don't know. Wherever the MLS team in Chicago plays.
Okay, maybe.
Because I mean, that's what the MLS
team. I thought it was indoor.
No, that's what the DC team is going to do. They're just going to play at Audi Field, which is the.
Yeah, but is MLS in Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chicago Fire, man.
Oh, fucking fine now. Who cares? It's soccer. Anyway, so that's been sports ball.
Chicago Fire playing Toyota Park, by the way.
An outdoor stadium?
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was an outdoor place to play. Honestly, that's the kind of league, though, that you make the deals for the stadiums and then announce the teams. And it's like hit up every city and wherever
to
you
see
can
who
get,
gives you the best race.
Whoever gives us the best place to play, that's where we're going to put teams.
Vince McMahon out there going like, we're about to announce the stadiums. New York, Los Angeles, Topeka, Kansas,
They gave us a really
Bismarck,
good deal.
North Dakota.
Real good deal. Real good deal. Strong fan base there in Bismarck. They've been waiting for football.
Meanwhile, Ricky's league is just all teams in Colorado.
Well, let's see. Washington, Seattle, Denver, Los Angeles,
California,
San Francisco, Washington D.C. Only the district though, not out in the
they got
Virginia.
to figure out a way to play inside of the district.
Is there any place on the East Coast? No. Oh, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Boston can have a team. So I mean that's pretty wide league.
Deep enough league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are they gonna smoke while they're playing football though? Like, are you gonna be able to smoke on the sidelines?
It would just be fun. See, like how they have the oxygen mask sometimes. You just see somebody with an oxygen mask on. And it's just like the altitude here in Denver is really affecting Ricky Williams. Oh, wait a minute.
Different kind of mask. All right. Now that we have about 9 minutes left in the show, let's jump into everything else that wasn't that. Where do you want to go? What's the big?
Well, I guess let's start with.
Can we do just a real quick Baltimore corner?
Sure.
So I can use the transition. Baltimore corner.
Where you get the straight dupe.
So yeah, only one real notable piece of Baltimore news: 294 murders in the city right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have 21 days left in the year. So if we keep it to one murder every 3 days, we'll still hit 300 murders for the year. And I don't know the last time we've had one murder in 3 days, but
it's been a while.
Been a while.
Yeah.
Now they have had a cold snap, so maybe
it gets cold enough and enough winter keeps the murders down.
Keeping the murders down. God knows the police can't do it, so maybe the weather.
Maybe Mother Nature will take over.
But so we'll more than likely hit 300 murders again this year. A far cry from the 340 of the past few years, though. Although, let's not count our chickens because 3 people were shot today and 3 people were shot on Saturday. So there's a chance we hit 340 still.
Also, when you have less people, the lower numbers are not more impressive.
Yeah.
Like you you've eliminated 340 potential murder suspects or murder victims from the year before. Just out the gate. Just immediately you started with 340 potential less victims. So.
And all the white people are fleeing, especially now that the preacher's wife got stabbed.
Which leaves only the black people, which is why there's the...
I'm doing about Corey or his loan.
This is some Baltimore County humor for the people who don't...
But I have heard some semi-racist stuff from people over the past few months about the violence. But when the preacher's wife, missionary's wife, what is she?
Who?
The woman who got stabbed.
Bryant? Oh, yeah. The 54-year-old with the...
What did her husband do?
I don't remember.
I feel like he's a deacon or a preacher or something. Yeah. But she is like a big charitable donation person, and she got stabbed after giving money to a homeless person. I just heard the most undercover racist stuff possible.
Yeah.
By the way, don't know who stabbed her. Don't know the race of the person who stabbed her, as far as I know, right?
No.
Yeah. So.
No, but I'm saying it was for my entire life in Baltimore County. There was a 50-50 chance that if murder in Baltimore got brought up, it was either the response was either, oh, that's a shame. City Hall is corrupt. They need to do something to fix that. They need to fix City Hall and the police department and blah, 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 and go down a list of all the problems that we already know.
Yeah.
Or the silent, sheepish, well, there are a lot of black people down there. And you look at them just like, really? That's the thing you're gonna draw to? And it's just like, well, I mean, they're the ones committing the crime, right? And I'm just like,
So let's.
Needless to say, I hate Baltimore County.
Can we take an over/under of the murders in Baltimore? 21 days left. 300.
Oh, by the end of the year?
Yeah. So one a day with 21 days left puts you at 217. No, 214.
I'm gonna go 209 or 309.
309.
Yeah.
309. So that's a little less than one per day for the remaining period.
Mm-hmm. I imagine there's just going to be snow at some point.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I'm banking this on.
I'm going to go a little higher at 317.
All right. It seems fair.
If I had to give you the over-under.
By the way, just going back to when we had predicted the house.
Yeah.
I was pretty much right on the money.
On the money.
With that one.
239. So. And after the re-election, speaking of which.
And I don't think there's anything else I've predicted. Certainly not the Orioles record for this year.
Or the Ravens record.
Don't go back and look up that.
All right, so let's close.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't predict the Ravens record.
Maybe you did say, "Hey, I'm not going to do that."
Yeah, I'm not going to do. I'm going to put that juju out there.
So, speaking of which, one of the things in the news this week, the North Carolina, you were confused about this. The 11th, no, the 9th is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I can't keep them straight because there's so much corruption in North Carolina. Who knows? But the 11th, it looks like. Did you see a story that they're talking about not seating the guy?
Oh yeah, that's just like an open discussion.
Okay, right now. But I didn't see that Pelosi had weighed in on it or anything yet.
I don't think Pelosi has said anything specifically, but I think it's sort of been I'm not talking about this right now, which means I'm going to do it.
So the first thing that will happen is that the majority leader will be sworn in, and obviously that's probably going to be Nancy Pelosi at this point, and then she has the option to basically deny or accept the credentials of everyone who comes in.
Yeah.
And they will bring a sheet that says, here is it, the local election board has certified the results, and mostly this is formality.
Yeah.
But in the 11th in North Carolina, 9th in North Carolina, there is this intense possibility of voter fraud. And she and the Democratic majority essentially could say, hey, we're not going to seat you. Now, yes, they could say we're not going to seat any of the
North Carolina,
any of the Republicans at all. But, then we have a constitutional crisis. Really, it's like, all right, you won your election. Great.
Yeah.
This, though, is a special circumstance where they may say, we are not comfortable seating you because we can't say that you won a free and fair democratic election. Now, what I had heard is also that this has spilled over into the 11th in North Carolina because the guy who looks like masterminded this whole thing in the 9th also was running the campaign in the 11th, or the Get Out the Vote campaign. And some of the stories of Get Out the Vote were about getting the names and addresses of people who had absentee ballots, going to their house, telling them, "Hey, here are the two races.
Pick up your
2 races that really matter. Vote on those. I'm here to pick up your ballot. Great. I'll worry about the rest. Sign it at the bottom. Perfect." And then walking out.
Yeah.
So that several of the races on there were legitimately voted for, but the remainder may have been filled out by the person collecting the absentee ballot, who then sent it in, sealed it and sent it in.
Yeah.
The signature was
or
correct.
tossed it.
Or maybe tossed it. If the person had previously filled out the wrong person for Congress.
You know, it's we've talked about voter fraud here a time or two before, mostly in terms of how ridiculous as a conversation it is.
Usually.
Because voter fraud, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But what does happen, enough so that we make entire jokes about Chicago and the Kennedy family and North Carolina for these specific reasons, is election fraud.
Yes.
Which is the act of trying to sway the election by doing something not having to do with the will of the people.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody going in and trying to vote 5 times almost never happens. Somebody trying to throw out somebody's 5 votes happens all the fucking time.
Well, somebody trying to throw out 5 people's votes.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And especially depending on where those 5 votes are cast and who might have cast them, and especially the race.
Or do we have an extra bin full of ballots that are 80% weighed towards our candidate, or these types of things? That's been happening forever. I would love if they deal with that issue as opposed to voter fraud.
Voter ID?
Yeah, like
requiring
like
ID?
when Kobach was in there trying to like figure out what we're gonna do about voter fraud. And so it's like, why don't we worry about what we're gonna do about election fraud?
Yeah, but I mean that's how he got elected, was election fraud. So not gonna do anything about that.
Yeah, don't rattle that cage.
Yeah. One thing I didn't bring up in the pre-show meeting, but I wrote down in my notes here to briefly touch on. Mitch McConnell accepted $3.5 million in donations from Russians. So there's that.
Yeah.
Speaking of election fraud.
You know, it's funny though. We talked about that before.
I thought we did too.
We talked about that. You know, whatever it was, like a year and a half ago. And that's the other thing that like. So briefly, as we're closing up here, we'll do a little bit of the Trump news. Mostly going around the Cohen and Manafort plea deal, or not plea deals, but like the sentencing that's going on, where individual 1 seems to be in a heap of trouble.
Yes.
The unnamed individual 1, who they haven't given you a lot of clues as to who it may be, but have said that was elected president in the 2016 election. So there's only a certain number of that rounds it down to just a couple thousand people, but I'm sure we'll be able to figure it out at some point.
I'm sure well, Mueller is a smart guy. I imagine he'll
I imagine he has some paperwork on who won that election.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but the the thing that is so interesting about this whole turn of events here recently is that we did an episode on Cohen, you know, like paying off Stormy Daniels and stuff like that way before the election. I mean, like that was happening before the election, not very far before the election, but I mean, like that was sort of getting out before the election. There was the talks of McConnell getting tons of money from the same sort of Russian sources that Trump was getting his money from. You know, the idea that there was a meeting at Trump Tower between Russians and Manafort and Don Jr. and Jared Kushner. Like, we knew all this, but the thing is that now we have the Southern District of New York or the Mueller team essentially saying for sure that these things have happened. This is part of our casework for the criminal prosecution that we're going forward on Manafort and Cohen.
And if he's ID'd, and if it's known, why hasn't he been charged?
So, for those who don't know, I know the answer to this, so I'm going to answer it for you. You know this too. But there's always been some debate as to whether or not you are able to charge a sitting president with a crime. So that is probably the long and short of why
they don't want to.
No one has been charged yet.
They don't want to
why he hasn't charged.
Yeah.
But Adam Schiff has said that he would expect Trump to be charged the day after he leaves office. So
it's much too late for most of the country, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I think what would be lovely is if maybe Mueller goes to the White House at some point, you know, with witnesses. So like, there's enough people who could say that what was said was said.
Okay.
Maybe Mueller sits down and he's like, "Listen, I know you don't want to go to jail. I know you're a big dum-dum, and shit just got way the fuck out of hand. You were not prepared for a national crime syndicate.
Most of this probably wasn't even your idea.
You
started
felt
yes
half-ass backwards into a lot of this stuff, and I know you don't want to die in jail.
Yeah.
So what I have proposed is this right here. This stack of paperwork is going to effectively force your resignation. One of them is a resignation letter.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is an understanding between me and you that you resign, go the fuck away, never gonna hear anything about it again, and it'll just be like that. And
page 18, Pence's resignation also. You need that.
Pence is out too. Nancy Pelosi's gonna right the ship here for a year and a half until we have an election. I know this isn't what any of us wanted, Donald, but you put us in this situation. And then Don
caught me by surprise there.
And then Trump just signs it really quickly because he's like, no jail time, signs it, and then realizes that he should have read what he signed. It says right there that he's going to charge him the second that he resigns. And then as soon as the resignation is in, Mueller puts the cuffs on him and leads him out. Because Trump would not read what he signs. I guarantee you if Mueller's just like, listen, you walk away, no problem.
Listen, on the plus side, maybe John Kelly on his way out could just slip a resignation letter in that last day worth of signatures.
Just put it in with the Arby's receipts.
Like, hey, as he just signed, here's an Arby's, here's a Pizza Hut. Just to sign
by
this,
the way,
and sign this.
Oh, John Kelly. All right, real quick. John Kelly is going to leave the White House before the end of the year, ending one of the most embarrassing chief of staffs that we've ever had.
Yeah, not his fault.
No,
really.
Not his fault, but I mean, like, he certainly didn't do anything to fix it.
No, he did not.
With the most recent rumors around the White House being that John Kelly and Donald Trump almost never talk anymore.
Yeah.
Which, imagine, if you will, that Trump was a pilot and John Kelly was his co-pilot. And then you found out that for the last 9 flights, these two haven't talked to each other once.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm not getting on the 10th flight.
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved with this anymore. The fact that a president and a chief of staff are having almost no communication is like unbelievable. Like these are the two people who should be talking. Like, it's the first person you talk to, the last person you talk to, and then you talk to them 35 times in the middle of the day between those two conversations.
But it makes perfect sense when you see who is on the short list to replace him. Now, first, Trump had a replacement, and he was about ready to name said replacement before that replacement decided to also leave the White House before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And that was Vice President Trump's chief of staff, whose
Pence's.
Yeah. Vice President Trump. Vice President Pence's chief of staff, whose name is Nick Ayers. Nick Ailes. But
who, by the way, just aside from nothing, has made an awful lot of money being a campaign person in a job where you usually don't make that much money.
And didn't ever want to work in the White House. In fact, said on multiple occasions he wouldn't work in the White House.
Has made at the low end $12 million as a campaign chairman.
Yeah.
For a job that usually pays about as well as a manager at McDonald's makes.
Well, when you know where the blowjobs were given, then sometimes you get paid, unfortunately. So the short list right now is characters like...
saying he's going to go work for Les Moonves after this?
I mean, he could. Different situation. But the short list for replacements, Steve Mnuchin.
Yeah, who apparently doesn't want the job.
No, of course. Yeah. Who else is on that list? The brand new AG, who may or may not be AG, but is acting AG or may or may not be acting AG.
Matthew Whitaker?
Yes.
Doesn't want it either.
Also doesn't want the job. A slew of people of OMB, the head of OMB, doesn't want the job. He's saying that he's reaching out to members of Congress who have been the head of the Freedom Caucus is an option. Doesn't want the job.
Right.
Basically, a list of all the people who Trump considers friends who all don't want the job.
I hearken back to Trump on the campaign trail where he said, I'm going to get all the best people. I'm going to have a staff like you've never seen before.
Yep.
And right now he's having trouble filling the most important job. I mean, because you would say that Mike Pence would be the most important job, but Mike Pence's job is literally don't die.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Break ties in the Senate and don't die. That is Mike Pence's responsibility.
He's no Dick Cheney, that's for sure. By the way, we got to go see Dick.
Vice. Yes. I very much want to see Vice.
Yes.
That's not out till Christmas, though, right?
I think the week of, maybe.
I think it's Christmas Day.
Is it?
I think so.
Are they dropping it on a Tuesday?
Yeah, that's...
Oh, long weekend?
Yeah.
Extra long weekend.
Yeah.
Good.
And a lot of people go to movies on Christmas.
Day?
Yeah.
I thought everybody's like me. Hey, who would have thought? So John Kelly's out, and who knows about the replacement? I feel like this is the kind of thing where Kelly will put in his resignation, but it'll say that he will stay so long as until the president has a replacement, and then
he said he at some point before the end of the year.
Yeah,
but I imagine that's just I'm going to hang out until there's somebody else to take over this job.
And right now, not looking good. Not looking good on a replacement. So,
and if you're if nobody's gotten this job at December 20th, I'm just giving the keys to Stephen Miller. Good luck.
Although probably the one man in Washington who actually wants the job, the one guy who would take that job, and thus Trump doesn't want him to have it. So, yeah.
Chris Christie's going around the corner like, I'll be chief of staff. It's like, oh, go back to fucking Jersey.
Why are you even here?
Why are you here?
Rudy Giuliani's like, hey, I'll be vice president. And I'm like, Rudy, that's not even the position we're talking about. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? By the way, find any video of Trump from 2015 and look at it. And it's still going to be full of nonsense, but compare it to him speaking now.
Yeah.
And the downhill fall of Trump over the last 3 years in his ability to put together a sentence or a sentient thought is amazing.
Yeah.
It'll blow you away. So,
well, the important thing to remember too with this whole thing is that Trump is in the middle of a massive criminal conspiracy, and he's way the fuck over his head, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and it's all spinning out underneath of him. So, Rob, say I had a cookie, and you ate that cookie, right? Mm-hmm. And you're gonna deny it now.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, I had a cookie here earlier. Do you know what happened to it?
Listen, there's cookies. There's cookies and there's other cookies, and some people's cookies belong to people. And so cookies go missing sometimes.
Well, okay, yeah, but that doesn't answer what happened to the cookie. Do you know what happened to the cookie?
Listen, do you know what happened to the cookie? Maybe you should keep better track of your cookies, and then this wouldn't be a problem.
Well, I know for a fact that
no more questions.
The only person who was here, but other than me, was you, and my cookie is missing. And the videotape that I had put up here, just in case, showing you eating that cookie.
Yeah.
So, and then as it goes along, as we continue this line of questioning, it eventually ends with Rob just going like, listen, I maybe ate the cookie, but it's not a crime.
No. It's Rudy Giuliani pokes his head up from under the desk and be like, listen, eating cookies is not a crime. I don't know why we're all going on this downward track of it's all crime to eat a cookie. Treason is not a crime unless it damages the country. I don't understand.
Treason's not a crime when the president does it.
Yes. Nothing's a crime when the president does it.
Wasn't that the Nixon line? Like, not treason, but it's not against the law if the president does it or something like that? Yeah.
He's above the law. Finally, just on a throwaway note, don't fly through Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport anymore, starting after the Christmas push, because they are rolling out curb-to-gate facial recognition software. So, I mean, you can if you'd like. You guys who use Snapchat filters, you're already in the system, so it doesn't matter.
They already know you.
I will not be using Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
No, and I would hope that everyone hearing the sound of our voices right now who's saying, what the fuck is this, will do something. Fill out a form. Yeah. Maybe tweet about it.
Yeah.
Saying that they don't want this either because, number one, it won't work.
Yeah.
Number two, you know how I know for sure it won't work?
How's that?
Because right now, pretty much every single square inch of every airport in America is under video surveillance.
Yeah.
And that hasn't stopped anybody from committing any kind of
to be fair,
problems.
TSA has not caught a single terrorist, but there has not been a terrorist attack. So,
Yeah. Which one is it?
Which one is it?
Yeah.
Maybe
well, I mean, clearly, TSA catches 100% of the things that aren't supposed to go onto airplanes.
Yes.
And we know this for 100% certainty.
Yes.
That nothing has ever slipped through TSA's potential reach.
Never, not once. Never, not once.
Especially not in this house.
Nope. But
I also like. There was once where I was flying with my dad, and we flew out. Like we had like 3 flights on the way to wherever we were going. Like we had the one connecting flight, and then we had another flight to another spot, and then we had another flight to another spot, and then we were going to fly back from that final spot, right?
Yeah.
And on the way back, TSA gave him trouble about a wine bottle opener that he had because it had the little foil knife on it. And he was just like, I literally went through 3 airports and this wasn't a problem. And now it's a problem. And they're just like, are you admitting that you flew with this knife? And he's just like, it's not a knife.
Pops the tin off a wine bottle.
It's a foil cutter.
I'm a wino, not a terrorist.
I could do more damage with a nail clipper.
Well, I mean, that's not a good argument to make either, because then they toss your bag looking for a nail clipper. But yeah, no, I find though that the smaller airports, I have more trouble at smaller airports than I do anywhere else. It's like they got more time and more energy to fucking burn. They're looking for something because El Paso International Airport wants to be the one that catches the first terrorist for TSA.
Right.
So, yeah, swab my computer for whatever.
Right.
C4 residue. Anyway. Don't go to Hartfield-Jackson Airport because it's going to be a mess. And, maybe if we stop using that airport, they'll stop using the face recognition.
I do feel like in this day and age where we can't trust elected officials to do what we want, that one of the last bastions we have of changing people's opinions is just not agreeing to support them economically anymore. Yeah. So like Wisconsin with their most recent thing of like trying to take all the power away from the governor and the incoming AG because they both happen to be Democrats. And now there's talk about like the NBA saying they're not going to have the NBA All-Star game there in Milwaukee when they build their new stadium. And like when North Carolina did the bathroom bill thing and they lost out on all these like big, huge events because they all said, we can't do it. Can't go to North Carolina. And then all that bathroom bill shit went away as soon as they realized.
Strangely, Charlotte.
It's like, you mean we can't host a Super Bowl? All right, well, I guess anyone can go in the bathroom now.
All those safety concerns right out the window.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I don't care about your kids anymore. I just want to see a Super Bowl in Charlotte.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's realistically the only thing we have to do. We can't trust anyone else to do it anymore. It's got to just be voting with your wallets.
Yeah. So if nobody flies out of Atlanta anymore, they'll get it pretty quick. Yeah. The question is, how much effort are you willing to go to not fly through Atlanta?
Also,
seen as it's a hub airport, and this is going to be added to other airports. So I mean, like, when it comes to LAX, we have to make a serious financial decision as to whether or not we're going to want to spend the extra $200 to fly out of Burbank.
Here's a good thing, though. So Atlanta Hartfield is set up a lot differently than LAX, and it would be way more expensive to put it in place at LAX. Because the thing is about where do you enter? And most people enter at the same place at Hartfield-Jackson and then spread out to the different...
Right. It fans out.
Yeah. It's a door that fans out, and LAX is 7 different doors all going directly into the terminal where you're going. So way more expensive to do. Now, if they do it at Tom Bradley... God, I mean, like, where are you going to go?
That'd be tough, though, to do it international. Yeah.
Yeah, where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
Go to San Diego?
Well, it would have to be for domestic flights only at this point.
Oh, true. Yeah. So let's go to Burbank. I'll pay an extra $150 to not get scanned for 6 hours while I'm waiting for my flight at LAX in security. So,
yeah.
Oh, well.
I'd love the day when we elect some president who's just like, hey, anybody else agree that TSA is bullshit? Yeah. And then one person from the TSA in the back of the room, like, not me.
Hey.
It's like, hey,
you're
out of here.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Bullshit?
All right, we're done with TSA.
Yeah. How about let's just go back to the way things were before?
We're going to save the $1 billion that we have spent on TSA, and we're going to build a really nice garden or something.
How about this? I don't really mind TSA that much. I just mind the shoes and shirts.
Meanwhile, City of LA is like, hey, how'd you make a garden for only $1 billion?
It took us $5 million to make a bike lane.
What kind of economic magic are you running?
That's the city we live in. Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to learn more about the city that we live in and the city that we used to live in, you know where you can go?
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com. Corey at OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. Oh, me? You can find more of me at CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com. at LegendCB5 on Twitter and Instagram, and Corey Baker Film on Facebook. We saw Creed 2.
We did.
Reviews coming out this week.
Yes.
There is going to be Roma on Netflix this weekend. I'm going to watch that as well. So you have, for sure, 2 weeks of reviews coming. Plus, I would like to go see a couple flicks while I'm home.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to add new theaters to the list. Hopefully
Sure.
the Parkway. And we'll see if we can sneak something else in before we head back to Maryland.
Sure, why not? You mean back to LA?
No, back to
Before we go to Maryland.
Yeah, see if
Fair
there's
enough.
another movie.
Yeah, sure. It's a Tuesday. We can go to a movie.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And of course, you can find more of me at Robert and Cheek at all your social networks, just like it says right there. And you can check out robertandcheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Firehouse Books.
Thank you, sir.
We are we talking about another book on the line, or?
Oh, I'm working. I gotta find one. I gotta stop playing Red Dead Redemption. That's number one priority at this point.
Yeah.
It's sucking up all my time, and I gotta edit a book, and I can't both edit a book and play Red Dead Redemption. So
It's funny. I was earlier today. I was getting ready to write an article for Stage 32.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh, another one.
Yeah, they asked me to come back.
Yeah.
And I was laying in bed for a minute, and I was like staring at the ceiling, trying to like calculate what I was gonna write. And it's just like, why am I doing this when I could be playing Madden?
Yeah.
And then I was playing Madden for a while, saying like, all right, I'll do all my thinking while I'm playing some Madden.
No.
And then 2.5 hours later, I'm just like, all right, I didn't do any thinking.
Yep.
What was I doing?
Can't do that.
Why did I say this
not
would be a great
possible.
idea?
I'm looking for somebody sent me. Was it you? It might have been you. No, it was Roberto, I think, who sent me this. Let's see if you can read that. Don't tell me you stayed up all damn night playing that damn cowboy game. Me pointing at the hat. Yep, that's me basically all the time. So gotta get that under control. But yes, I'd like to get one out. We're trying to get one out by the end of the year. This one is going to be much easier than the rest of them. So we just got to pump it out in the next 20. I got 21 days. We talked about it earlier. 21 days to get it out. So we'll see. 21 days. 2018.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Finally. Take these headphones off. Sweaty ears, you see.
Yeah. How about the head? How about the rest of that?
Oh, no, that's fine. Nothing to be changed up here.
Hey, how about this? Text the listener line if Corey should get a haircut. Yes, just text the word yes to the listener line if Corey should get a haircut.
Standard messaging rates apply.
Absolutely.
That's the way you get people not to do it.